Remember, we have talked a lot about the Docker, especially. Of course, we touched almost all important concepts about the Docker based on whatever we mentioned in our curriculum, as well as I have talked a couple of other things also. Now, today, what I'm gonna talk is um, some more. The troubleshooting aspects of a Docker containers. This is going to help you in different ways, especially, right? If someone is trying to go start a container and it is trying to start itself but failing, and the disk space utilization is heavy, uh, the Docker network settings, I know different ways how many possibles of troubleshooting with the Docker images that we are going to see today. And apart from that, right, what we do is we are going to take a pause. Pause means not like stopping the classes. It's been whatever. I mean, how the tomorrow's class is going to be. Tomorrow we will be spending some times on a QA. So for whatever we have discussed. Okay, please share this information to everyone. Sunday, please share the same thing to all the guys in a group. Okay, so tomorrow what we are going to discuss is a QA, meaning if you have any questions or issues so far, whatever we have discussed from first, right, from beginning onwards, if we have any questions, we will discuss a few minutes, not like few minutes, if possible we will spend some time. Then we will be writing or we will do a mini project kind of thing tomorrow. I mean, of course I'll be doing it, but I'm very much interested if you guys would be doing it. If I state a pipeline, I mean, if I give a problem description, the project could be like, you know from first onwards, like we will be writing a Jenkins pipeline, which will take a code from the GitHub, compile it, build the package, push it to the repository. The repository is unified repository. The repository is our JFrog artifact repository, which we are going to discuss it tomorrow. And then from the Docker, from the repository, we will deploy that app. I know by downloading it. Then we will be, what we do is, then we will be create a Docker file. I mean, we will Dockerizing the application also. Of course, we are going to discuss the Dockerizing an application. And then we will publish the Jenkins pipeline. So meaning whatever we are going to do it, or whatever we have learned so far, we are going to combine all together, and then we are going to use it in one shot. Because this is where once you join a company, right, they might ask you to Dockerize an application, one task, and they may ask you to write a pipeline to streamline their entire deployment process, meaning uh, like from compiling source code to till they deploy the application into the environment. So this is what we are going to do it. Okay. So, this is going to be doing in another 2 classes. How the plan is, today we are going to discuss about the Dockerizing an application and troubleshooting techniques. We will be completing the Docker part. And the second thing, tomorrow we are going to discuss a few minutes for FAQ. So far, if you have any questions on any of the tool, we are going to discuss, and as well as a JFrog. Tomorrow we are going to discuss about it. And next, another 2 classes, we will be discussing about the mini project, whatever we have done. Why? Because from the tools, whatever we are going to discuss from now onwards, which require some coding part. Coding part means we will be, if you remember, while writing a Jenkins pipeline code, right? What we have done is we have, I see a little bit lag while discussing. You guys are still, I know you guys are still on the way, learning it. So it will be time consuming phase. meaning we have to concentrate more on that, because while learning Ansible or Terraform, all are writing a code only. So you have to understand the syntax out of it. Okay. So all these you have to be learning. So it will take a time. And whatever we are going to learn, those will be different from whatever we have learned till now. Because till now, whatever we have learned is kind of a managing, orchestrating part of it, and less part of a coding. But for Ansible, Terraform, either security, we'll be writing a code for that. It is an important also. Okay. So that is the plan for this week. I mean, today is a Tuesday, right? Today we'll cover, tomorrow FAQ and JFrog. Probably another 2 days. I mean, Thursday and Friday, we will do a mini project kind of thing, whatever we have just discussed. Okay, it's like a entire together. Okay, this is the plan which I'm planning to implement it. I hope this would definitely help you, even if you are fresher, right? You can add this to your resume also. Okay, and you can push your code and then publish your in GitHub and then use in your resume and then showcase I have done this, so I'm a good at DevOps kind of Jenkins and all these aspects. Okay, any questions, guys, on this? This is how I'm thinking to implement it. Okay, please let me know if you have any questions here. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start my virtual box. Then I'll start all this stuff here. I know you have to bear with me today for no external disturbances, because I'm somewhat exposed to outer. That's why you are hearing some disturbances, but fine. Naveen, Sandeep is going to document this and then send it to you guys across. So he heard, right? So he will make a document and then share it to you guys. Simple. We are going to just whatever we have learned so far, we are going to reiterate and then doing a practical of it. All combining all together in one place and then executing it. Simply writing a Jenkins pipeline, which will help you to deploy your web application in environment along with the Dockerization. That's it. Right. So this is, yes, that will give you a good overview of combining of all together in a single place. Okay. Okay. Looks like my thing was back. Let me share it. Okay. Um, uh, 220. Okay, I have logged into my this one, but okay, cool. Docker images. Now, the main important is, of course, whatever we are going to discuss. Two things today is very important and with respect to the Docker. That is Dockerizing your application and troubleshooting the Docker things. Okay. So what do you mean by the Dockerization here? Okay. When you say Dockerization, right? Generally, how the flow is. I'm annotating it here itself. Okay. So this is a one environment would be QA or dev or prod. But if it is a prod, it will be having a lot of components with a secure configuration and a lot of automation process. But let's discuss this, assume this as a QA. So, and you have an application which has a some source code like this, meaning this is a tree navigation of your source code. And what you do is you will take this and then compile it, and then after compiling it you will generate a it will generate a jar, and you will, this is a jar, and you will copy into this environment. Okay, you will copy into this environment, and then you will run or you will deploy the jar as a service, and then your application is up and running. This is a general normal process. Okay, now let's assume same thing how the Docker container would work. I mean, now we are going to talk about the containerization part. In the same environment, now the process is, so again, you have a source code, you have everything. Now, what you do is, assuming the environment will have a containerization environment installed, meaning it is enabled with the Docker container tool. Now, what this do is, instead of compiling and generating a jar, again, it will do the same thing. It will compile it. It will generate a jar. Apart from this generating a jar, it will generate an image. After generating image, it will publish this image to Docker Hub. Okay, this is happening. This particular part is happening within a Docker image. These two will happen as a normal commands, like how we are doing this. We will git clone, git men compile, men package, and then copy manually to an environment and then run the jar. Here, what we do is we will create in the same source code, we will create a file called Docker file. Inside a Docker file, we will mention the dependencies for this project, and then how to compile it, how to generate a jar, and then we will execute this Docker file. And then as an output of this generation of a Docker file, we will get an image. And then once we got an image as an output, we will publish it to the Docker Hub. And from the publishing of a Docker Hub, what we do is in the environment, we will pull it as an image, and then we will deploy our application as a content. So this is a major difference. What is the benefit? So if you ask me, sir, this above process is contains only 2 steps. It's very easy process. But in case of um, the below process, which is the Dockerization part, it is having multiple steps, right? You shouldn't compare the how many steps got involved. Of course, it is also a factor, but in this case, it is not the right one. So what you do is you just need to have to this image whenever you want to deploy this, right? What you need to do is you have to deploy the same jar and again here. But in case of an image, you just need to pull the same image multiple times. I mean, you can deploy this in a different things also. Okay, and one more thing is, in this application, in this jar, for example, your application has a 5 functionalities. Okay, if any of the functionalities goes down, the entire application itself will be in down phase. But in case of, if you dockerize the based on the functionalities or modules of your project, even if same thing, 5 containers are there based on the 5 functions, even if the one container failed because of some feature issue, other 4 functionalities will be utilized. Okay, meaning it won't stop other 4 functions. In the above case, It will be a problem with the other four functionalities also. If we have a problem with one functionality in the same jar, it will be affected with the other jars. I mean other functions. But in case if we adapt the microservices or containerized mode, it won't be having any problem. I mean, this is one of the advantage if we adapt the microservice or container based deployment. Okay. So, but in case of, I mean, this is there are other more also, but same thing. Now, whatever we have discussed, we are going to discuss this part now. This box part, meaning Dockerizing an application. In another 2 days, we are going to discuss this entire process. This is a small mini project, combining all together and then executing. That's it. Okay. So let's talk about this part, this box, which is a containerization part. Okay. um okay, so now what we do is, how do we do is, we will have a source code of a project. Again, it's a Maven. Okay, now what we do is, along with the existing source code, we will create a file called Docker file. Okay, and then we will keep along with the source code out of it. Inside a Docker file, we will write an instruction how to do the stuff and all that. MVN compile, package, and all the stuff here. Okay. And then we will run this Docker file as already we know it. And then we will Docker push it. This is what we are going to do. This is a simply Dockerizing your application. Let me show you a couple of things. So, okay, Dockerizing a Spring Boot application. If you see here, there are a lot of suggestions has come. Dockerizing Spring Boot application, Dockerizing Maven project, Dockerizing Python application, Dockerizing Angular app, Dockerizing Node app. Like this, you can Dockerize any of your application. It could be any of the language. Now, what we are going to do is either Spring Boot or Maven, both are we are doing the same thing. Okay, Dockerizing. Okay, so there are a lot of suggestions and the documentation we do follow. I would always recommend, or even I would also follow, and I'll follow definitely in the future also. I'll just go through multiple documents and then try to understand what they are doing, because we'll get to know uh, how they are thinking. Now I'm looking at the three documentation, so I'll understand how these three guys are doing. So maybe my requirement will be match with any of these three guys. So that's why I'll open multiple documents, but always prefer to read one complete, then go for another one. Okay, you will get an habit to it. If you see here, so what they are doing is, they are using a from Maven. This is their, if you remember, while creating a Docker file, we used a base image called Ubuntu, if you remember. Here, these guys are also using Maven one, meaning this image is already having a Maven installed, pre-installed. So they don't need to install Maven separately, because they are taking the Maven itself as a base image, and then they are copying the source code into inside a container of this part, and then again they are copying the pom.xml, which is a Maven related project, and they are copying it here, and then finally inside, after getting source code, they are running a one command called mvn clean package, and automatically it is cleaning and packaging it. Now, for packaging it, what they are doing is, see this, they are, this is another Docker file. Of course, they can complete it in one thing, but still, see, I'll tell you. From, they are taking OpenJDK image, and then copying the build. I mean, after doing a clean package, we will get a jar file, under the target folder, what they are doing is from build image, meaning from a build. If you see here, they are representing this all the steps as a build. From build, meaning from the above section, there is a jar file under this path. Copy this and then paste under this path of a image, and then expose 8080 image, and then run this command as an entry point. Whenever you start a command of a Docker image, whenever you're trying to start a container from an image, automatically this will execute because they have put it under the entry point. Okay. So this is the definition of a Docker file. Okay. Now, after creating a Docker file, they're just creating a build image, meaning they are creating a or they are running this Docker build, and then finally you would get a when you deploy this, you would be getting a descriptions like this. You would be getting a logs like this. This is how a simple thing with these guys has been followed. Okay. Now let's see how these guys have been doing. See, and here they have given everything. Docker build Docker image. See, this is a Docker file again. This one, and after that, okay, these guys has given a basic one, but it's not an accurate. Of course, they are giving explicitly telling everything. This is was not that much clear. Of course, this is simple. They are using this Docker build command, but they are not mention any of the Docker packages. Let's see and see where this Docker file. Yeah, again they have created another documentation how to do and all the stuff. Don't follow this, it may confuse you. Let's see everything in one place here. Okay, these guys also giving all the stuff here. See, this is their package, this is their pom.xml file, and this is their this is their Docker file, and this is the command to run a jar, and then finally they are adding this command to run a jar, and then they are deploying it. That's it. These guys also pretty much followed the same thing. Yeah. Okay. So, and same time, they also followed the Docker Compose also, provider and consumer. They are utilizing it. Let's see, let's follow. I feel like this is pretty much easy, but here the point is we don't know where is the source and all the stuff here. Okay, but the pretty much steps are similar here. Let's copy and then use this as a reference. Okay, let's use this as a reference. Dockerize GitHub Maven process. Okay, I'm just looking about the small example of this guys. Well, let's take this guy and see. They have given a Docker Compose directly. We don't go with the Docker Compose. We want to go with the Dockerizing thing. Yeah, simply this is a Docker file. See, these many things that are meaning they are taking a base image as a Maven, which has a JDK 8. And after that, they are installing all these NPM, meaning Node.js related stuff. And then just they are printing a Maven. That's it. Nothing they are doing it. They are not Dockerizing their application. Let's see another project. See, looks like this is a Spring Boot application. Okay, again, this is also have not, I mean, of course, they have a Maven related and all that stuff. Yeah, looks like this is good one because it contains a pom.xml, no internal folders or submodules, and it has a Docker files, and they are given a steps of all the steps here. Now let's try to see here. If you see here, this is the source code of this guy, okay, main.java and everything. Now let's see the Docker file. See, simply they are using a OpenJDK 8 as their base image. Entry point, this is the one. And finally, they are copying the application.jar into inside an application. And then finally, this is the one. Okay. So, okay, now the question is, they have not added the compile and package steps. They should be doing it actually. Okay, you see, they have to do this, build a jar and everything, then test the jar and then running a jar. Okay, now let's do the same thing here. Now let me download this code. Mkdir price here, and then git cloning it. Yeah, it is downloaded. Then this is the one. Let me check whether do I have a Maven one. Okay, I do have a Maven one. Maybe if they have mentioned the pom.x inside a pom.xml to use a specific Maven version. Yeah, they are suggesting use the Java 1.8 only. Let me check what is the version of. Yeah, I do have a Java 17. So it may fail it, but fine. Let's try and fail it. Okay. Now, if you see, there is a Docker file here. See entry point here. Okay. So similarly, as far as I know, okay, it won't do that because it is using the, even if we have Java 17, it's fine because it is using a JDK 8 image. I mean, what it is going to do is it will compile from the Java 18, Java 8, and then use it. Now, as far as my knowledge, they are missing one command called run, this particular one. This is the one. Okay, they don't require, actually, we should be doing manually. MVN, once you do the package, right? Once you execute MVN clean MVN package, there is a one target folder will be get created. Under that, there is a one file will be got created. That is, which they have mentioned here. Yeah, application.jar. Okay, they have to copy this application.jar also. So that steps has been dockerized. Now MVN compile. Okay, see simple, they are saying fail to execute the goal because option 5 is no longer option and everything. Okay, what we do is we will lend a couple of steps from these guys. Okay, what we do is 1 minute, guys. Okay, so we'll copy these steps. Okay, now let's prepare in our notepad. Okay, what these guys are doing is They are using Maven 3.5 for building process, and they are copying the source code. Now let's see inside our project, do we have a src folder? Yes, there is a src folder. And then copy that to app src folder. Okay, inside this they are copying this src folder inside of this Maven container to this path. Okay, and they are copying pom.xml also. Where is the pom.xml? Yeah, they are copying the pom.xml to this path also of a container. Now after that, they are using they are running a one command. That command is this. What they are doing is they are executing mvn -f. -f means if you don't give a -f, if you want to compile mvn compile or package, you would be doing. If you give like this, what does it do is in the current directory it will look for pom.xml. If pom.xml is in any another location, you have to specifically mention where is the file. That's why if we want to mention a specific path of a file, we have to provide a -f as an argument and then path of that pom.xml. That's why this guy has given. Okay. Okay, if we don't want to give a -f, what they have to do is cd user src/app. Then they don't require of this path also. Okay, this is the one. This is a simple one. This is a build part. From now, what they are doing is they are using a Java of this guy. I don't know who is this guy. This is not trusted of Java image, but still someone Docker image like us. This guy, distroles and something grc.io. And then they are copying this one and then doing. Now let's do one thing. What they're saying is hello world something, right? What this guy is saying is, let's see what this docker file has been. He's saying under the target there is one file got generated, that is application.java. Okay, so let's use that as here instead of hello world, because the one which I copied the example is generating hello world.jar, but this guy, and this is the one. And if we want to run that particular jar, this is the command also. Okay, here. And it is exposing an 8080. I hope so. If not, that is fine. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm creating a Docker file. Before doing this, I'm taking a backup of existing Docker file to bkp Docker file. And this is the one, Control X. Now, the command is docker build -t. They might have given to us this command. Yeah, -f, -t, and dot. Of course, my dev and then dot. Yeah, let's see it is been doing or not. So it is building a Docker image, and it's downloading the Maven image, and then it's downloading other stuffs also here. Okay, now it has been failed here. Now let's see what is this fail. There are totally five. There are totally five failed at the second and third, which is especially copying src folder to this one and copying the pom.xml. What this guy is saying is failed to compile pom.xml is not found here. That is what this guy is saying. Pom.xml is presented and src folder is also present. Then why it has been failing here? Just 1 minute, guys. Okay. So, okay. I'm guessing it does not have a copy execute permission. Of course, it has a read permission, but why? Let me give this, I mean, form.xml here. It has an execution. Now let me do this stuff. Okay, this failed again. Why? There is an SRC folder. Okay, it is still failing it. It is failing it. Form.xml file. Why it's not able to pick this form.xml? I'm guessing. Okay, what I do is instead of copying under the user SRC, I'm just copying it here. So I'm assuming in a container of Maven, it does not have that path. Okay, now this is the one. Now let's save and then see if it is able to build properly. Okay, again it is showing. Yeah, there are no folders of this. Okay, why this guys has been failing? We have been here, then we are under this path, SRC folder, and form.xml. Here is an SRC. Form.xml. Compile of this and see. Okay, now let me do one thing. Docker build error logs. Docker build copy file not found. What these guys are saying? Fail to compute the fail to calculate the function. This is what Docker ignore file. Do we have such kind of anything? Oh my god, these guys are saying, see, since we got this, Okay, but what these guys are saying, do check in file too. I know this is very rigorous, but I had the file mentioned here. Okay, what they mention here. What I'll do is I'll remove this Docker ignore file. Let me see if it is doing stuff. Okay, see, this is building now. Inside a Docker ignore file, he has mentioned to copy or use only that particular folder. That's why it is been doing it. Okay. Now let's see. I think it will fail again because in the first section of a Docker file, meaning here we have given a root like this. I mean, we are copying the root directory of a container. Either source folder and form.xml, we are copying the root directory. And then if you see as a builder, I mean, as a package or infrastructure, we are telling please copy from this path, but it's not like this. It should be something like this. Then it will copy under this. This is how it should be. That's why it will fail it. Let's see those parts also here. Did complete? Oh my God, it would take time, it seems. But let me, I mean, meanwhile, let's discuss these guys also. So, you see here, this is the Dockerizing an application. Just 1 minute. Okay, I think this would take much time, guys, because it has to download this 45, and I do have a less internet speed, so it may take time. But the thing is, what I want to show is this is a Dockerization of an application, meaning your compilation part, meaning the building part, and the deploying part, they have combined together in a single Docker image and then building it. If they just done Docker build, I mean this command, whatever we just executed, right? One image will be get created. Once the image got created, you just need to run it. So your deployment will be done. So you don't need to do anything. You don't need to do compile every time. So you just need to build a Docker image. It will auto compile and it will generate. It will publish your image. I mean, it will jar also. That is the entire process which has been Dockerizing. Here, one more thing is unexpectedly we have learned another way also. I mean, another thing also. Generally, if you see any of the Docker file, we might have seen using only one image related one. So these are the one Docker file, and this is another Docker file. Now, what we have done is we use the two Docker images or two separate process in a single Docker image file. This is a new one. Okay, meaning you are referring this image as a build. I mean, the entire process as a build, the name called build, and then you are referring another below image usage. So this is also, I mean, sometimes we may get a requirement. In my career, almost 5 times I got a new requirement. How can we use two Docker images in a single Docker file? Meaning creating a new Docker images from the existing two different Docker images. Meaning, see, you are using a Maven Docker images, you are using a GCR Java image, and then you are generating another Docker image of it. So it's like you are combining two images together and then generating a new one. This is the way of usage. Fortunate, I feel it. I mean, we have learned that to different ones. Okay. Okay. I mean, it may take time. Let it go. But fine. What we do discuss is the troubleshooting parts of it. Yeah. Okay. Let me see Docker PS. There is a one container is already been running here. Okay. The container name is a Docker PS will just show you the list of Docker processes, current running processes. Okay. If you give a -a, it will show you the older also. These many older Docker processes are running. These are the current status state of it. Okay. These are all the Docker images here. Docker processes which already exited and running also. Now, if you want to only show the running current process, this is one thing. Now, if you want to see the logs of this particular process, what we would do is Docker logs the service name. The service, I mean, the service name is a web server here, not the name of the container. See, this is the logs of a web server process. Just Docker log space this one. This is how you do see the logs of your container. Now I want to see the exited container logs. Now this is, I know this is one of the container which I want to see the logs of it. Sim Docker logs, the container ID or the container name. Okay. Docker logs instead of the container name, I'll give this. Yeah, see, simply this is the logs of this particular container. If there are any such high logs, we will get to know. Let me copy this container ID and then use and then see the logs here. This is how you do check. I mean, there are no logs for this container at all. But generally, if you want to see the logs of any of the container which is a running or fail, this is how you do use it. Okay. Now, another one is okay, Docker logs. Mm, see, for every container that we spin up, it will occupy some space. That is the place where the location is lib Docker. Let me log into this. Great, I'm muting myself and I'm showing you here because of some disturbances. Just bear with me. Yeah, guys, I hope this is better somewhat now. Okay, actually, this is the location of a Docker related commands. These are, if you see here, there are something called containers folder, images folder, network folder, overlay folder, plugins folder, swamp, temp, trust, volumes. For example, if we created any of the network, under the network folder, it will be get created. Now let's check the content of a network. See? I mean, we won't able to read properly, but what I could say is, whatever you create a network, whatever you create a volume, whatever the creation of bridge network, it will automatically fill up these folders. Meaning, if you want to, for example, we have seen a container, right? For example, let's see 9BEFA, 9BEFA. Let's go inside a containers folder. Let's list out this. See, these are all the folders. How many? Totally 25 container folders are there. Now we want to go inside I mean, it will be there until if we don't remove 9BEFA, right? Let's check 9B container ID. Let's go inside 9BEFA. See this? This is the place where you have a log related to the container. Meaning, what I want to convey is, even if your container got stopped, not even running, you can still get the logs under this path. Under var lib docker containers folder, there is a folder will be get created with the container name. Under that, if you see here, there are a lot of files here. Okay. If you see host.config, host mount, resolve, the main logs will be, this is the one. Container name itself will have a log file within it. Let's display this one. Let's open this. If you open this, all the logs will be presented here, including std out and std error also. For example, now let's check the image. What is the current running image? Let's check this. Okay, so the thing is docker ps. Yeah, this is a container, right? dd something. Yeah, here is the, see, these are the logs. Meaning, if anyone want to review the logs of a container, why the application container is got rejected, or why the application got exited, docker container got exited, you can still find the logs here. Okay. Yeah, this is one thing. Another one is troubleshooting logs. I mean, docker logs. One thing is docker this is another thing we would be getting. So meaning, generally, if we don't clear your all exited process or containers, right, what you would be doing is, your entire hard disk will be filled up with this containers folders. So finally you would end up with the disk space error or something. So if you find any such kind of an issue, that is that is a kind of a hint to you, saying that your hard disk is completely occupied with the docker images of a stale, meaning which was not using. So you have to use it. So you have to find out how many containers are there or not. Okay. Now let's check. Okay. Now I see there is only docker one command has been one process running, right? I want to delete all containers, all the stale containers, meaning all these stuffs here. So what you would be using is docker ps will give you the list of all the running one. If you want to give a docker ps -a, will the exited also here. Along with -a, if you give only true, it will just show you the container IDs. See, these are all the running failed containers also here. Only IDs. Why do we want to IDs? If we want to remove any of the containers, what you do is Docker remove the container ID. For example, I want to remove this container. C2, this one. C2554 is enough. It is saying that you cannot remove this restarting container because it is restarting. It's first, if you want to remove, first stop this container and then remove it, or else you apply hyphen force, it will auto remove it. This is how it will work. Now let it restart. What I do is I'll remove, for example, this one. Okay, I'll remove this. So this is what, if we remove the container, do we have any backup for it? No. No, it will completely remove the container, but not an image. Meaning, whenever you see, this is a Docker image. From a Docker image, you are creating a multiple containers, right? You are creating a multiple containers. Generally, we do create only one or two containers, or max, I mean, max two, but we don't do. You are removing this container, not this image. Until unless you don't remove, you can create a multiple containers. Okay, it is fine, no problem of deleting containers. You have to careful, but if your container is storing any of the information, then you have to care about it. Okay, that's for sure. If you don't store any of the information inside a container, you can safely remove, even if you stop it. Okay, if you remove this image, then you have to worry about it, because you know, right, you will lose the changes of it. Again, you have to pull a new image, and then image of it. From there, you can create a new content. Okay, so this is, I mean, you don't have any problem if you remove a container if it is not storing any of the data. Okay, now what we have done is we have just removed this one. Now let's talk about, just 1 minute, Docker images. See, we have these many images, right? We have seen how to remove a container. Now we will see how to remove a Docker image, RMI. If you use the RMI, remove image, either you can give a image name or image ID. Image ID is a good one. Now I want to remove this image of this ID. So what you do is remove it. See what this guy is saying, this unable to delete this image, you must need to be used a force. Image being stopped by the container 8BE something. So what you need to do is you remove this container and then you remove this image. Even, I mean, it will tell you, hey dude, this image is associated with this container, so you should be delete this container first and then use this delete of this image. Or if you don't want to do that, you can provide a hyphen force. It will automatically create, or it will automatically create a it will automatically delete the chain dependency of the containers also here. So I'm just forcing it to delete this is the one. Once you deleted whatever the folders inside where lib docker containers, it will also delete this one. So you would be saving some of the disk spaces. In most of the organizations, this is the place where more neglected area, meaning if you're a person who is managing a Docker images or Docker orchestration and all the stuff, right? We will be spending a less time in a hard disk space. When do we come here? If we hit a disk space issue, then we'll come why our machine is running out of a disk space. Then we will start analyzing, and then we will find where lib docker folder is a heavy size, so we have to remove unused docker files. So that is the one more most neglected area where we will be doing, spending a less time in a discuss phase. Okay, right. Yeah, so what I want to use is, if you want to remove a container, you would use a RM. If you want to remove an image, you would use a RM. Okay, sorry, image means RMI. Now, so let's say Docker PS, right? I want a -AQ. So if I want to delete all these containers in a one shot, what I can do is, this is giving a list, right? Just put inside of this. So it will just give you the all the images. Now Docker RM. So this particular portion will give you the list of image IDs, as you know already. Now this part of a command will just remove the containers. So you are just passing a list of container IDs to remove it. So if you done this, it is deleting it. Still, it is not able to delete a couple of containers. It is saying that, hey, this is been using and you have to remove forcefully. But fine, I don't want to remove forceful because these are all been using by the Docker PS. So if you see here, DD77C, DD77C, C25, because these are all running containers. So either you stop it and then delete it, or else you forcibly delete it. I don't want to do anything because I want to keep these containers to be alive. Okay. Now this is one way of doing it. Similarly, Docker images, you can just give. You can also apply the similar one. Docker images. If you want -A, you would be giving -AQ also. Okay. So it will give you a list of Docker images ID. Similarly, you can pass this list of Docker images IDs using to Docker RMI. That's it. It will delete all the images. So I don't want to exit because all my Docker images will be exited. Okay, these are some of the common troubleshoot areas we would be getting. Docker logs, Docker remove, Docker inspection, for example, Docker inspect. Docker inspect, the image ID you would be giving. See, there is no container, it is saying INX. So it will give you all the information about a Nginx image. You have, since you have given an image name, you would be getting all the information about the image. If you give a container ID, it will give you the inspection amount, inspection data for all the, container about all the information. Okay. Yeah, these are the common areas we can be troubleshooting, guys. You will get to know a lot of issues. That is the place where we will be looking about the different commands also. But don't worry, you just practice, you will get to know for sure. Meaning, what I meant is, you will definitely fall into the issues. That is the place, a chance to learn about the different commands. Okay, that's it from my side today, guys. Okay, let's continue for tomorrow. And as we talked, Sandeep, please forward to all the people. We will be learning tomorrow about the JFrog and then FAQ. So far, if you have any question, this is a plan for tomorrow. And another 2 days, you would be finding we would be doing a mini project kind of thing, which is whatever we have learned so far, we will be learning about it. Okay, that's it, guys. Nothing else on top of it. Okay, thank you.